AM 1220, KHTS, hometownstation.com. I am T here with Dr. Proctor. We're here every Thursday from noon to 1, an opportunity for us to look over the shoulders of the medical professionals, the medical community, all the support services that help a patient, help caregivers, because as the population ages and we get to a place where we are working with either our own health care or loved ones, where we become a caregiver, with everything that's happening in the medical field, all the advances, things that are taking place in many good ways where people have more access to health care. It impacts the doctors, it impacts the hospitals, and one of the best things we can do for ourselves as the silver tsunami comes is to become more educated, to become our best advocates for ourselves, for our loved ones. And we are to speak about a little bit about home health care today. We have home care services of Santa Clarita. You can find them at homecaresantaclarita.com. Rick Ferrante is the president, and we're also talking to Armand and Glody Almario, who are here with Cardinal Home Health Care. You can find them at cardinalhhc.com. And we're talking about when a patient has an issue where perhaps it's a straightforward medical issue that needs some attending to post-hospital, or if it's a chronic situation, various medical issues. Sometimes the best thing for the patient is not necessarily to be in a long-term facility, but the idea that they could be home, where their immune system has a fighting chance, where their morale and their spirit has a fighting chance. And we're talking about when you leave the hospital, sometimes that can be a very frightening prospect. It's good to know that there are people out there that are going to help you. And sometimes the caregivers are the ones who are rather shaking in their boots. I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. And we're going to talk to Glody. I would love for you to walk me through the process. I'm the patient, or aunt or uncle or grandmother, whoever it is. They're in the bed. They've been informed that they're going to be discharged. Well, now what?
Normally, when a patient is going home from an inpatient facility, meaning acute care hospital, skilled nursing facility, subacute, or whatnot, the doctor will write a prescription, evaluate for home health, or he will actually write a specific order for the treatment or procedure that needs to be done at home. Now, the case manager is responsible to faxing that order or getting that over to a home health agency. We get that order with the patient's information and medical history of the patient. We check eligibility right away. We call the case manager, informing the receipt of the referral, and we coordinate the care. If we need to verify the orders, we'll do that right away. We call the family member, informing them of the doctor's order for home health agency, and we schedule the visit. We usually see the patient 24 hours upon discharge. Or sometimes if there's specific orders that need to be carried out in the afternoon, we're there in their doorstep right away. So that's the basic.
Now, if my car is in an accident, I get to take my car to various places before I decide who's going to do the work. Do patients have a choice?
Yes, they do. There's a Medicare website. It's called medicare.gov, and they can look up for home health agencies out there within the area, within their place of residence, and they can pick and choose any home health agency that they.
Because I think a lot of people, that when they think, well, maybe I don't have a choice. I just have to go with. But the idea they have a choice, that's wonderful, because again, they can take the power, as you say, to figure out who's going to be the optimum team to help them.
Even if they're already receiving home health services and they don't like that home health agency that's providing them services, they can always refuse. They can refuse. They can tell this agency, I don't want you anymore. Call the physician. I want another home health agency that can better serve my needs.
And that's wonderful for someone listening to know that this is your life. This is your well-being, and for you to receive the optimum health care. So now, for someone like Cardinal Home Health Care, you help the patient under, like we were talking about, whether it's the care or it's the private insurance,
Right.
you help them understand what's
Right.
available to them too.
Right. We tell them what you're going to get with this kind of insurance, what you're not going to get with this kind of insurance. And also, I'd like to add, home health skilled services and non-skilled home health services, we are here to prevent hospitalization. We are preventative care in the community level. So we're here to keep you healthy at home. Not necessarily, you don't need to be sick. If you're chronically ill, your family member has problems with new medications or issues in how to control the medications, or maybe unstable walking, you have fear that your loved one may fall or end up in the hospital or the operating table with a fractured hip, your physician can always write a prescription and say, we want a home health agency to evaluate this patient's needs at home and prevent hospitalization.
I love that, because your goal is to make sure that they don't, I mean, they get the best of the best of the best.
And patient safety.
And patient safety, because if you don't have some of the things in place, well, then what good is it? I mean, you're going to end up with someone, like you say, going back in with a fractured hip, or they've fallen, or they didn't have everything that they needed, but you know that checklist. You know, and we call it in production, seeing around corners.
Right.
You know what the possibilities are. You can prevent that. That's really also very helpful to family and the people who are taking care of family members.
Lodi, after the discharge and so on, then the nurse goes and visits, etc. So
Yes, so when the RN goes out at the patient's home, the nurse will do the admission process and evaluate the patient, not only the patient's condition, but the home setting and the caregiver's knowledge on how is the caregiver competent enough or safe enough to take care of the patient independently. We also
Because what if they're small, and they have a big patient and maybe they're not able to have the strength to, you have to assess all of that.
Right. And let's say, does the patient have enough or has the right equipment at home to transfer from bed to chair, bathroom to the chair, bedroom to bed, and so on. Proper turning of patients. It's an overall evaluation and patient education, of course.
That's where the non-medical home care services comes in. If we have a non-medical home care services at home, we can coordinate continuance of care and make sure that this patient does not end up in the hospital.
We work as a team.
I think that's the key word here is that everyone's working as a team so that nobody drops a ball, which when it comes to your health can be a really tragic thing.
right. So you could hear how they were saying. You go from the discharge function, and then you get into the home and you assess and go through all the steps of understanding all the dynamics about the patient, about their home, about their family, and what their skill levels and all that are. That's the assessment. And when they're looking at that, yes, each stage and each entity, whether it's home health or non-medical or whomever, the doctor themselves are effectively assessing the patient. And if those assessments are all done in a coordinated fashion, then you're exactly right. You've got a team there that can actually operate as a well-tuned machine. So in terms of non-medical home health as well, we do the very similar thing. And it can occur even before the patient is discharged from the hospital as well. Because we're all looking at the same thing. What is going on here? What is the diagnosis? What is what are the instructions for this person for whatever period of time that they need so that they don't get readmitted into the hospital, so that we can have better results and outcomes. So we listen and understand so that our case managers then can work with the discharge, work with the doctors, work with the home health agency, and coordinate. And then literally on our case, our care plan, it just is almost a duplicate of their care plan. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I've got exactly what these people need to be doing, and they're not all doing this the same person, but they're all doing the same thing. So we'll go in and then we'll assign caregivers in a similar fashion. What are the needs? What are the skill sets, et cetera? And then there's a lot of things like availability and all that stuff, and manage those people. And a lot of times on the non-medical side, it's interesting where okay, you've got the skill set and everything, but there's one other element, and that element is even like personality.
Yeah.
It's
you have
kinda-
all the skills,
right?
you got all of that, but
You know, some people like a vivacious energy person,
Non-stop
and
talkers.
yeah, and then some people are, I don't like that, and you literally have to kind of get to know people to understand, Grandpa doesn't like a chatty Cathy. He just doesn't. Or, we've got to have, and there's other things, smoker or non-smoker, things like that.
But little things that you might not
But they're big,
consider.
yeah.
Then, and again, it's all about what's right for the patient.
Mm-hmm.
And if those little things might not click with the patient, well, that's an issue.
Right.
And
So-
you want to do what's going to make them most comfortable, most receptive. If you're working physical therapy, perhaps with someone, or just someone lifting you out of the
Mm-hmm.
chair, and oh dear, I don't want to do this. No, that's okay. Leave me alone. I'm fine. That's a problem. You got to. So you have a tough thing to consider.
There's some people, and families know this, and I've had people come and say, I don't want anybody nice. I need a general here to get, mom moving or get dad
Right,
moving.
the motivation, the motivation.
Right. And they need to keep going. So, can you find me somebody that's not that nice? Which is an interesting comment. You think, well,
But
okay.
it's true. It's true, because if you do have someone that you can railroad and you can manipulate to not do your therapy or not do your respiratory issues, whatever it is to help you get better or keep you at your optimum health-wise, you want someone and some people don't want the general.
Right,
Like,
and then there's
they-
just the opposite, right? Yeah, look.
They bully me.
They
I'm
don't
not
bully
in-
me.
no.
Yeah, so we need somebody that's a lot, quieter, a lot more reserved, and a lot more,
More of a cheerleader, not a general.
Yeah, cheerleader, exactly. And
a
everybody's
checklist for
different.
that.
The world's different. Everybody's different, and it's none of it's bad.
Yeah,
All of it is,
case
it's case by case, and it's all good. So that's kind of the way it looks and it operates. And then as you go, the final thing, and we kind of touched on it a little before, is that's all the assessment. That's all at the discharge. We're talking in the matter of course of a few days, right? First week, whatever. That's not where it ends. And the other big element of this that a lot of people forget is that watching how things are going and continuing to follow up on the back end. What is happening? What is working? What is not working? Whether it's, whatever is prescribed, whether it's the medication, whether it's the diet, whether it's that physical therapy, whatever it is. And a lot of what people need to be our eyes and ears, including the family.
All right,
and
well,
everybody understands that.
And in our last few minutes, I would love to know, what should a patient consider when they are looking at it? So how do they choose a provider? What are licensure requirements? Give me a little bit, and red flags. Just walk me through quickly some of that.
Well, a home health agency needs to be licensed by the Department of Health and certified by Medicare. And we go to a rigorous regulation. So we're audited every so often, and we have professional services that we provide. We have physical therapists that are certified by the state, registered nurses, and so on and so on. And so we are monitored by Medicare, our outcomes, our performance. You can see it on the website at medicare.gov, and you can pick and choose which home health agency that will better serve you.
Well, and again, if you're interested and you'd like to learn a little bit more, you can pop over and find out more about Cardinal Home Healthcare. Again, we're talking with Armand and Glody Almario, and they are part of Cardinal Home Healthcare. Cardinal HHC is their website, and I'm sure they would be happy to walk you through, and you can learn a little bit more about them on their website. And also, we're talking with Rick Ferrante, who's the president of Home Care Services here in Santa Clarita, and their website is homecaresantaclarita.com. When we come back, actually, before we have a few minutes, I would like to talk about when they're looking at non-medical home health care. What's the deal there with choosing a provider and red flags and licensure?
Yeah, it's very similar. Look, you're looking at people that are licensed and are agencies that are out there and doing the things that somebody out of their backyard or out of their garage isn't doing. Coming here in 2016 for non-medical home care agencies have to be licensed with the state, and so do all in-home care providers, the caregivers. changed starting in 2016.
Wait, it didn't used to be?
No, it isn't today.
Wait,
There is no licensure requirement in California for in-home care agencies.
How is this going to impact?
Big. Well, for patients, it's going to impact in a positive way, because all the things that the good agencies out there, of which ours and others out here in our community are, they're all doing these things. They're doing the background checks. They're doing the they have all the insurances. They have all the things and screenings, et cetera, and trainings that need to be done. There are a lot that aren't.
But that's going to change in 2016?
Because it's now a requirement to do that, to do all those and then some. Well, a lot of the agencies will be doing even beyond that. But it's really important to look for an agency versus just, somebody off the street or somebody off the internet that's an individual,
right,
because then you know that all those things are occurring. It is an unsupervised position of somebody taking care of mom or dad. And if you've got that, I mean, just think about it. You wouldn't, if you took care of your 6-year-old as you're not gonna just pick up somebody off the street, and you don't want to do that in this situation either. It's got to be somebody that's licensed, that's somebody that has all these things in place, because that's what they should be doing.
Again, this is your life.
Yes, or your mom's, and
but it's a life. It's not something that you can easily repair, pick up a new one. These are critically important issues to look for.
Ask for the licensure.
So that's one of the red flags.
It's a big red flag.
Okay.
Find out if they are licensed with the state of California up after January 1st, because it actually is not a requirement up until now.
Right now.
And nobody can be at this point. But starting in January, yes, ask if they're licensed. And then, beyond that, it's, do they take the time to do what we've been talking about with case management? Do they take the time to understand who you are, understand your needs, understand the patient needs, and then apply the care plan, rather than just, here's another person, and then let's just throw some people in there. And that's what I would look for in both home health as well as an in-home care agency, wherever you are. Consider that as you're going through.
So the management it's really a matter of management.
Yes.
Like you would if you had a business, if you were running a donut shop, if you were running, a cat shelter, you want to have management plans in place. Your health, or your grandma's health, or your aunt's health, or whoever you're dealing with, you don't want that to be any different. It's really all about management. And again, if I could say, communication. Yeah. All of these entities need to be communicating, and having an agency like, the home health care or home care services, you're coordinating, you're managing, you're communicating, so that it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
I would love to take just a moment. Armand, how did you come to this? Why did you decide to come into this field?
Well, I've been a registered nurse for a long time, for more than 15 years. And I've been doing home health for approximately the same time. So I love what I'm doing. I love taking care of people. I love to be involved in their health needs, and healthcare is a very interesting field.
You're always learning, aren't you?
Right.
You can never be fallow. You're always finding something new, some new article, something that's the better thing for the patient from what they thought 5 years ago.
Right. There's always something new in wound care management, in all these chronic diseases with so many advances in medicine. There's so many things that are very challenging, and at the same time keeps you up there.
And Glody, very quickly, what brought you to this field?
I've only been an LVN for 5 years, but I've been in the home health field for 10 years now. I loved it so much that I had to go to school. It's a totally different field that I had from the past, but I went to nursing school because I wanted the home health setup. I love the patient care, but I can't imagine working at in a different facility compared to a home health agency.
So
specifically Cardinal Home Health.
That's a lot for about the people. Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back, we have a bit of a wrap up. We'll cover this a little bit more and lead you back to our guests here, Armand and Glody Almario and Rick Ferrante. We'll be right back after these messages. This is Dr. Proctor on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. AM 1220 KHTS hometown station. hometownStation.com. I am T here with Dr. Proctor. This is an opportunity we take once a week, Thursdays, noon to 1, where we discuss what is happening in the medical community. It's really our chance to look over the shoulders of the medical community, doctors, support teams, people who are keeping an eye out for our best health. And with everything that's happening in the world, as far as more advancements in healthcare, more access to healthcare, really the best thing we can do for ourselves is to educate ourselves. And this is an informal opportunity to chat with those individuals so that we can be better suited to take care of ourselves, take care of our loved ones, be our own best advocate in those situations. We're talking with Armand and Gloria Almario, who are here from Cardinal Home Healthcare. They can be found at cardinalhhc.com. And Rick Ferranti of Home Care Services here in Santa Clarita, homecaresantaclarita.com. Now, we just as a wrap up, again, the entire hour has been talking about what it is to be home for your medical follow-up, for your care following these situations. And again, I think we all agree one of the best places a patient can be post hospital stay or acute care, rehabilitation, surgery is home. Mm-hmm. And the idea that there are agencies that will help the patients and help the families, help the, have the optimum care in their own setting is very comforting. That's a little scary, a lot scary, to be perfectly honest, but also very comforting. And to know that your agencies are out there to help us, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I mean, the overriding thing here is that there's no question that care today, home is part of it. Being home and caring for people at home is a huge part of it. And if you understand that there's those resources out there, you take charge, as we've been talking about, of the care yourself and say, look, I know that we can do this and I want to take charge of the care, and then find those resources like an agency like Cardinal or Home Care Services and others, and do that. They're out there. The resources are out there, and it can be a great option for people that need it.
Well, thank you all for being here. And again, I love the idea that you do your jobs not because your answers weren't, well, that's where the money is. Your job, you very much care about patients and the idea that you can help someone in that next step, and also stay educated and stay on top of. And Rick, the idea that the licensure is now a thing, and you've been there all along. So thank you for being the people that do the right thing. This is Dr. Proctor. We'll see you next Thursday, noon to 1 here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.